Yeah, just skip a second with the laptop. Let me just see. Oh my gosh. Hey, everybody. Yay. Oh, wow. You guys are cuddled up on the couch.
Hey, Erica.
Hi.
Erica. Hi.
There's more this way. Let's
I can
see.
get it.
There we
Wow.
go.
How many of you are there total?
There are 19 here.
Perfect. Yay. Well, it's such a pleasure. I'm going to tell you that when Christy asked me, I was like, of course, I'll make it work. I'll figure it out. No worries. I want to be there. I wish I could physically be there with you because I'm actually only about 3 hours away all the time. Love that whole area up there. And I know some of you probably traveled to get there. And I am in the place called the Valley of the and with our little, I should say little, she's not little, our sweet 12-year-old Labrador Sedona. As Christy told you, I was recruited to be a coach by Carl. And the funny story about that is I said no to him 6 times. Kevin and I both did. Kevin was more ready to say yes than I was. And I think the reason was I had just come out of a very hard career on the corporate side of network marketing. So I was in a position a lot like Jeff Hill's. Company wasn't as big as Beachbody, but felt a lot of responsibility, traveled 12 to 18 days every month. Kevin traveled 21 days, if you can imagine, every month. And so I would be sitting in front of people, women like you, thousands of them, and saying, you know, live your best life, be true to who you are, create something that you love. And then I'd go to an empty hotel room to wake up the next morning to get on a plane to go say that to thousands of more women who, you know, were making massive changes and had beautiful companies, teams in the nutrition space. And I basically longed to actually do and have what I was teaching. And after 9/11, I couldn't do it anymore. So I, probably at the peak of my career, 42 years old, I quit without a net. Girls were just getting out of college, no safety net, no plan necessarily. I just knew I couldn't do it anymore. And so I started looking for a way to take better care of myself as a priority, and then hopefully to show other women that they could too. And the bridge between that decision and joining Beachbody, I created a company called Womenkind that creates really unique ways for women to gather, just like you are right now. Because at the heart of it, in my whole life, what I've realized is that when women gather, magical things happen. And I think you're probably experiencing that in your retreat already. And then Beachbody, then $1 Million Body started calling Kevin and I. We were newly married. We had just bought our home in the wine country and remodeling it. I was like, no, I'm not going back to network marketing. Unless somebody's going to do it differently, I'm not going to repeat what I've done for the last 16 years. And, you know, the name Beachbody, $1 Million Body, I immediately had judgment there, probably because I had always judged myself that I could create great success in the world. And I'd done my best as a mother, but I didn't take care of myself very well. So when I would look at Beachbody, I'm like, oh, no, that's just not me. And so I kept saying no. And then Carl said, like, just come spend 3 days down here. We were up here, Northern Cal. So we went down there, me with my arms crossed like I have right now. I should open them up. And, you know, for 3 days, I listened to Carl's vision. They were an infomercial marketing company at the time, and most of the company did not want to be a direct sales company or network marketing company. It was Carl's wild idea. John Congdon didn't even want to do it. I mean, everybody was like, no. Carl's like, listen, I want to be more than DVDs in a box. And one thing I know is that only 1 person out of 40 people who watch our videos, our infomercials, even buy from us. And the other thing I know is of 10 people who buy from us, 5 don't even open the box. 3 get great results. And the reason they do is because they have a buddy. So I want to create a buddy system. And the best way to financially compensate the buddy for doing the hard work of getting somebody to open the box and press play is network marketing. And I think we have a chance to do it a little differently and to make it better. And I heard his story and I liked it. I mean, he was telling me what I wanted to know about the company. Their products were like okay at the time. They're nutritionals anyway. So I'm walking out the door and I'm ready to leave. And Kevin's like, I like this idea. And I'm thinking, oh, and I had just gotten an offer, a huge offer, probably the best offer of my career, to go join another company. Can't remember. It was Rodan and Fields. It was one of the companies that were just launching back then. And I thought, the reason they want to hire me is because they want me to run like a racehorse to help them launch this thing. And I just don't want to do it for somebody else anymore. And so we came back to Carl and said, Kevin will come inside and help you launch internally. He worked with Michael Neiman in the very beginning. I will, but I'm not going to go work for anybody ever again. So I'm going to take a position in the Coach Network. And that's how I became coach number one. Still a little reluctantly, but I'll tell you, there's something he said to me as I was walking out the door, and I want to share this with you as I kind of go into this volume strong thing. He said, Milan, he could probably tell like I was not 100% feeling like I fit in. 5 feet tall, probably 150, 160 pounds, just not, love golf and hiking, but just would not do P90X for sure. And he said to me, look, we've got a lot to do in a little bit of time, and I want you to think about this. What if you could create a business of your own, something that you were really, really proud of, that you loved, where the most important part of the success of that business wasn't sales or numbers, and the most important reason you would succeed is because you took really good care of yourself first and the people you loved. And I left and I said thank you to him. We were driving home and I thought to myself, you know what? No CEO that I had busted my buns for all those years ever cared if I was healthy or happy. And I worked in the nutrition space. No doctor when I was a nurse ever cared if I was actually healthy and happy in my career. And this was the first time this little guy who had a wild idea that nobody really wanted to believe in said to me, what if we could go create something we were really proud of, where the most important thing was how we treated ourselves as an example to everyone else. And I thought, I couldn't let that go. And that's the reason I said yes. Everything failed in the beginning. Our IT systems didn't work. We didn't have Shakeology. We were kind of like the stepchildren in the Beachbody corporate office. They're like, yeah, this coach thing, it's not going to last. But the passion that drove the idea of what if we could reach into people's homes and get people moving that aren't moving now? What if we could be the inspiration behind what looks like a cool product on an infomercial, but actually from the back end, help people figure out what the healthy is for them? And what if we could slowly create some nutritional products that would have integrity and really support and make nutrition simple? And so the whole coach community was founded from our customers. They told us what worked. They needed a buddy. And then network marketing was the model because we knew that if we did it right, it was the fairest way to pay someone and to encourage somebody to pay it forward. And that's really how we started. And I'm so, so proud of that. I'm so proud that we're a company that didn't just say, hey, let's be in network marketing and let's go figure some products, by the way. Let's come up with some stuff, which is how a lot of companies actually began. We actually were rooted for 10 years in helping people get off the couch. And then we figured out that the real secret sauce to that was a buddy system. And you guys are those buddies. You're doing the work. And the work we do is not easy. I think in the space that we're in, and that's why I say the second most proud thing I am is that we're willing to do the hard work. We're willing to invite and invite and invite and invite, just like Carl did with me 6 times, until we might in that magical moment have somebody say, okay, I'm ready now. Because most likely they weren't ready. And a lot of the reasons the people that we work with aren't ready is because they failed before. And so a lot of what we're overcoming in our coaching work, 90% of it's probably fear. The other 10% is actually pushing play and making a shake or whatever it is their healthy formula is. So I just want to fast forward to the last few years. And I know some of you might be brand newbies. Some of you might have been through this journey with all of us. But we got to $1 billion really fast, faster than most companies do because we had the right idea. But we also got there because a lot of us came into coaching without 100% clarity about what it was about coaching that brought us the greatest joy? What was the goal that we really were reaching for? And I don't think that's uncommon. I know a lot of people that start businesses, whether they're hairdressers or doctors or whatever they start, restaurants, where they're not 100% sure what the goal is. In our case, I think we went through a season where coaches were reaching for rank, reaching for Success Club 5 or 10, reaching for recognition based on what Beachbody created. And of course, they're going to create those things for us to reach for. But I think that what happens typically is a coach will come in and they'll reach, I want to be emerald, I want to be diamond, but they're not sure why, because they see other coaches doing that. And then when they get there, they're like, okay, so I was expecting something else to happen. And it wasn't until then that they discover it. So what I'm hoping you do in the next few days in this retreat is really start to think, what are the internal reasons? What is the internal goal and reward that isn't external necessarily? And it's okay to have those. It's okay to want to be a leader, whatever Beachbody's got out there, that you want to reach that achievement, because those make business fun. But I'm hoping underneath that, at the foundational level, you think, what is it about this that I'm really feel called to do? Like, so for me, I felt like I just needed to prove that I could. And I know that probably sounds really simple, but every day what drew me to my work was I wanted to prove that I could create a really thriving business and a beautiful community of like-minded people where taking care of yourself was the foundation of your success. And that was really true. That you didn't have to become somebody you weren't already, or you didn't have to become something that's uncomfortable, that you could actually be really successful being who you already were. And I proved that to myself. I replaced my corporate income in 6 months. I brought my husband home 1.5 years later. And, now I'm at a stage where a lot of what brings me to my work is creating legacy, and bringing truth and integrity into the work that we do, and still creating this coach community that I've always believed we're capable of being. And I think, a few years ago, we got a little too driven towards rank and elite and Success Club and things without looking at volume strong, without looking at what is it that's going to pay you consistently every week as a coach. And whether that's $500 or $5,000 is a matter of time, if you focus on building something volume strong. And I think that's what Christy really wanted me to share. I've got a whole other thing that talks about, what's the conversation that I have with women, with my most high performing women? Like, how did I bring women into my team that really dug in and created volume strong teams? And that's a whole nother conversation that we might have another time. But for today, we're just going to focus on building volume strong. Is that, get a thumbs up? I don't know where Christy is. That's what you guys want to talk about today, right? Yes, volume strong. Okay. So let me do share screen. And you guys will see my husband Kevin and I for a second. There he is. And then let me bring up building volume strong tribes. So there we go. And we can just do it as a, I'll just do this there we go. I have a few versions of this. I think this is one of the simpler ones, but also gives you some homework to do. Oh no, I think that's, yeah, we'll see if we can do that here as a collective group. But the whole story behind this, building a volume strong team, actually came from us getting to a point where our teams in 2017, where I think we needed to look at it. Up until that point, we were growing so fast that we weren't taking a good look at how we were growing. And so what I did is I looked at who were the most income consistent coaches on my team and what did their organizations look like? Who were the coaches who had got to diamond but didn't stay stable, and why? And then I started interviewing coaches. I'm like, so tell me what you do as a coach. Like, how would you describe what you do as a coach? Tell me the things you're struggling with. And so there were some really interesting things that coaches were struggling with that volume strong doesn't happen when you build a volume strong team. So it was clear to me that these 4 things, understanding what the healthy formula is as the foundation of who we are as coaches and the work that we do, is like the glue that makes all of this stick. The second thing is having the patience to create a 500 or more point volume PV business every month so that you can show your team how to do that. then how that translates into Emerald Tribes and building Diamond Strong. So Christy, let me just ask you, if you guys will have a question, do you want to save them to the end, or do you want to just have like an open dialogue?
What would you guys like to do? Save them? Okay. Yeah, we'll save them.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sure. Let's go to the next one. And how much time do we have? Just so I know how to spend much time to spend on each one of these.
We have another training at 11.
Okay. So we don't need that much time because I want to give you guys some time to have a break and talk about this as well. Yeah. So the healthy formula is our true solution. And I think the reason I needed to get back to this this is what our team has always learned. But I think when we became so driven towards challenge packs, challenge groups, and success club points, that we started to miss that this is the real work we do as a coach. So what we do when people ask, like, what's unique about Beachbody? There's a gazillion other options out there. And I said, I think that one of the unique things, aside from just the history of how we morphed into the company that we're in from our own customers, is that we do three things really well. We make fitness fun, we make nutrition simple, and we create support for change. And we integrate those three things. So when somebody is at a point of saying, I just don't feel great, I'm going to go to Jenny Craig or Weight Watchers or Slimming World or one of those nutrition programs to get a solution. That those nutrition programs would say, yeah, okay, so here's our plan, buy our food, follow the points, whatever. And, oh yeah, you should exercise too. So they'd get kind of a single approach to that. Many of them would join a gym, unfortunately, rarely ever go, but they join a gym, go a couple times, feel weird and not keep going. That's a pretty common thing. So it was all fitness focused, or they would go to gym and work like crazy and have the fun of a social Zumba class or whatever, but they weren't losing weight because they weren't really facing the reality that nutrition is a huge part of this. But most commonly, in every case, when somebody was starting something and not finding success, it was because they didn't have any kind of a community of support or a coach or accountability. And so that's what's unique about us. We 100% know that the truth around making change for a healthier lifestyle requires all three things. You've got to find a way to move your body, and you've got to find a way to eat well and as healthy as you can, and you've got to find a way to integrate that into your everyday life, and that's what we do. So I was working with some local coaches, and particularly one was a personal trainer who was super frustrated that she couldn't get people to stick. And she was a coach, but she couldn't figure out how do I have a conversation and integrate my personal training to my clients now so that they really figure out like what their healthy is. And so I think that when I created this little sheet for her that I'm sharing with you, it just kind of speaks to the conversation that we want to have. First of all, it's not that we're trying to just find out who's going to buy a challenge pack because it's the best deal, or because it gives us success club points. That the truth is every single person that we come in contact with, we have a chance to add value to their life if we just see our service to them, our way of impacting their life is helping them figure out what their healthy is. And so that really, now you're not just looking at who wants a challenge pack, you're looking at, okay, so the guy that's at the CrossFit gym might have his fitness figured out, but he doesn't have, maybe we don't know if he has his nutrition figured out. And we don't know if it's a part of his everyday life or if he's just going to do this CrossFit thing for a while. So everyone matters. We need to listen and serve. We need to become the trusted advisor versus the person that's trying to just create another transaction of a sale. And we always care about people over points. So at the heart of this, that's our mindset around this. So we created this little, like, what's your healthy solution thing? Like if I were to like put this as a little trifold brochure or something, or sit it in front of you in a conversation we're having, or send it to you and we're doing it through a little Zoom, I would want to know, what do you need nutritionally to get your nutrition on track? And they would either say, I'm already on track. I'm doing Weight Watchers. I'm doing, whatever they're doing. I'm seeing a nutritionalist. I've got, keto or paleo or whatever. There's all those things out there. So rather than me, if I want to be your trusted advisor, rather than me saying, oh, don't do that, that's not good, even though I have very strong opinions about those diets, I'd say, okay, so it sounds like you're on track with your food plan. How's that working? How long have you been doing it? How long do you see yourself doing that? I'm just asking questions without trying to judge or move her off of that. And I think that's important for building trust and being a trusted advisor. But here's what happens a lot of time when I ask, so how's that working for you and how long do you see yourself doing it? It totally cues me in to having a better conversation. So at a point, so I'm like, I'm not here to convince you to change that, but if a point you're ready to make a change, I'd love to have a conversation with you about some other options around your nutrition. Are you open to that? So that's how I have this conversation. The other thing that might happen when I'm asking, so how's nutrition working for you, is I need a kickstart with fast results. Like if you can't get me to lose 5 pounds short run, then you're going to lose my attention because that's just how I am, right? So that kind of cues me, okay, 7-day refresh, or maybe the 3-day is a good for, cleanse. I'm like, okay, if you've got the stick-to-itness, we can do a cleanse for 3 days. If she's saying, I need help getting back on track, I kind of know what to do, I'm just off track, I might be a 2B mindset solution. I want something to stick with is certainly a 2B mindset solution. So let's get rid of that. Oh, I keep getting that. Okay, so what I'm showing you here is what you're listening for and the question that you're asking. Some coaches have taken this whole thing and turned it into a questionnaire once somebody's expressed interest through either IG or Facebook. You can do it however you want. You guys brainstorm this as a group. But notice that some of our solutions around nutrition are 2B mindset, or a simple portion plan, or 21-day fix, or our 7-day Shakeology cleanse, or 3-day refresh. Just an example. The extreme might be ultimate reset. Somebody is really sick and needs to make a change, or that really wants to do a 21-day commitment. So I just want you to see how the two match up. Okay, second part of the Healthy Solutions Fitness. I'm on track. I'm going to CrossFit. A lot of times when we hear CrossFit, I'd be done. I'm like, okay, well, I'm not going to sell a challenge pack to a CrossFit person, but it doesn't. I'm like, okay, we got that checked off. So they might say, I like variety and I want options. Or I need to focus on one program, or I need to start slow. Somebody that's got maybe more than 50 pounds to lose that hasn't done anything. Okay, so we've got to give it a try. Put your toe in the water, do something for 14 days, or give them full access to Beachbody On Demand. Or let's just pick a program. One of the things about Beachbody On Demand that's been a little difficult is some people get in there, get lost. I'm like, okay, we're going to do Power 90. Like for my age group of women, that's an awesome program. Or 21-day fix. And I think it's important when you're talking to people to think trainer too, because we love all our trainers, but some trainers aren't a fit for people. And so think about that person and describe the trainers and their personalities is also really wise. And the other is a simple start. So for me, 2 to 3 week yoga retreat and a free trial on Beachbody On Demand might be a way for them just to get integrated. So you guys think about what your solution would be based on what you're hearing from somebody. And the last is support. I have a way of staying on track. Great. Show it to me. Let me see how that works. I like to interact in a group, or I like using an app. I have people who aren't on Facebook at all. I have people who don't use an app, or one-on-one support. Like I've got some of my best results are people who are just sending me pictures of their meals 3 times a day. I don't have to respond. It's part of our accountability. I check in with them once a week. So these are just ideas, but the reason I'm showing you this is I want you to start think of, how can I help somebody figure out what their healthy is? And how can I see the joy in my role as a coach as helping people figure out what their healthy is? And think of it broader. That's all. The course at the bottom of this is the challenge pack. So when I'm talking to people, I said, so my job, the best thing I can do is help you figure out what your healthy is. And we're going to look at nutrition, fitness, and support, and the best way to create a system around that for you. But Beachbody actually bundles this because we do believe in this. And so they make it a little bit more affordable. There's some advantages to it, but it includes all 3 of these things at the best possible price. And so that's an option I certainly want you to know about. Okay, so what I suggest that you guys do as a group, as an exercise, is talk about what your healthy formula is. Each one of you right now has a healthy formula for your fitness, your nutrition, and your support. The nice thing about coaching is it actually forces you into it a little bit because you have to be accountable yourself. But write down what it is. How are you moving your body? How are you consistently feeding your body? And how are you staying engaged in support? What's yours? And then have a conversation about the questions you might ask, or how you might integrate this into your social media strategy to help to have the messaging that you're doing, what you're talking about, being about the healthy formula. And so my fondest hope with every coach is when I say, what do? It isn't that I run challenge groups or whatever. It is that I help people figure out what healthy is for them. And we focus in these 3 areas. Okay. So that's step 1. It's the foundation of everything. Step 2, the 500 PV coach. So what is a 500 PV coach? I hate that I kind of have to talk about it as points or PV, because the truth is PV really represents people instead of points. But the truth also is that it's the heart and life of your entire team. If I were to sit with you and look at your team, I'd say, who's at 100 points consistently a month? Well, first of all, who's at 90? Because we know that who's at 90 is probably a coach who's simply just buying for their own personal use and not doing anything in terms of marketing what they're doing as a coach out into the world. That's okay. No judgment there. Just know that's what they are. And I don't consider them as strength in building my model of my diamond business. They're a bonus. So what I'm looking for is the 500 PV coach. So look at those that are 100 or 200 or 300 or 500 or more, and look for ways to recognize them. So they are somebody who lives the 4 vital behaviors. And you guys know what those are. There's somebody that knows how to invite. Hey, I'm doing this. Come do this with me. They're actively saying, I'm doing this. Come do this with me. Whether they're doing that just casually in their life, or they're doing that in the structure of challenge groups, or they're doing, however they're doing it, they're doing it. They know how to engage people. So how have you been? How's your health? Is the question that leads to the healthy formula. Not necessarily, I'm running a special, or there are more the salesy tactics around this. And sometimes they work and they're good, but a 500 PV coach is constantly curious and genuinely curious about people's health and saying, how have you been? How's your health? They know what the healthy formula is. They can tell it to you. They nurture their contacts and their customers as a big part of their power hours or their activity. They are very focused on how am I adding value to my contacts and customers. And I'm going to talk about that in a minute. And they're product and company confident. So a lot of coaches don't know how to tell the Beachbody story, like the one I just told you earlier. They don't, and I want them to be able to say, here's who Beachbody is, and here's what's unique about us as a community. And they also are product confident, meaning that they know about our different solutions, both BOD, what's on BOD, or, they know what Revitalize is, as an example, that it's basically a probiotic. And if they've got people taking a probiotic, Revitalize is a great alternative. Or Optimize. If they have problems with digestion, I have people just start with Optimize. It's an enzyme, a powerful one. If they just take that when they go eat or go have pizza or whatever, they're going to digest better. So that they are product and company confident is another sign, and might be something that you want to feed into the skill and confidence building in your coach network, your coach community. So the 500 PV coach mindset is they always meet their customer where they are, and everybody needs a healthy formula. They invest in creating raving fan customers. So typically that's by having a VIP customer group I'll talk about. They inspire customers to become influencers. So one of the things that Christy will probably remember is we used to have something called the Success Link. So what we believed is that every new customer has a coach. So there's that link for success, that buddy system. That coach usually connects them to a bigger community through some kind of group or support. But what really makes that customer succeed is when they then reach in and we ask them the question, okay, you've got me, you've got this group, we're going to do this. But what I've learned is that when you connect to somebody in your life and have their support or them join you, that kind of a link is where people get the best success. So what I'm going to ask you to do in the next 3 or 4 days is just think, who in my life that if I had their support, or even if they decided to come do this with me, that it would really be meaningful to me. So that now you're not just looking at serving your customer, but you're looking at supporting them from people in their lives, but you're also digging into their circle of influence to help them create success, but also to build more revenue for that through that customer. I hope that makes sense. So you're boosting revenue through your customer by creating that success link and asking that question. And the truth about every 500 PV coach is their goal is I'm serving and working with 6 to 10 customers. My goal is always 12. But if I've got 6 to 10 customers, whether it's a little 50 points worth of product because they're just kind of trying something new, or what, bars or something like that, or whether they're on Shakeology every month and it's 90 points, the collective of 6 to 10 customers is going to reach about 500 points a month. Now, some of them are Shakeology every month or on some kind of an HD. Some of them are brand new. So once a coach sees that it's not that hard to get to 500, if they're focusing at it from the healthy mind, the healthy formula, and serving people and having conversations with people about what healthy is for them, and attracting and serving customers so that their goal is 500, some of it being HD, some of it being new, that 500 isn't that scary anymore. So making raving fan customers a part of your growth strategy is at the heart and foundation of what I hope every coach sees in their being a coach. Okay, for the next one. So here's a little 500 PV idea thing that I created that I'd love for you guys to create together too. But I set it up as kind of like a restaurant menu to teach healthy solutions, to have fun with groups, and to create events. So what is like the game plan for a 500 PV coach? And this is kind of small, and you guys probably can't see it on that little laptop, and I can send all these to Christy for you guys to have. And you guys can change it. Like, I don't know if anybody's got a Canva account, but they're done on a Canva, so you can easily change it for your group. But I just want to talk about what this is saying and how I use this with, especially a coach that I'm building to 500 points. So first, what are the healthy solutions? Shakeology, daily dose, makes nutrition simple. And whether it's a 15 PV sampler that they're just getting started with, or a 90 PV commitment for 30 days and beyond, that's a solution. And what I tell people with Shakeology is, look, I don't know about every ingredient. I don't know about other shakes that are out there. There's plenty to choose from. What I do know is if I do this one thing for myself every day as an incredibly busy woman, it's kind of like my no-brainer click off self-care thing. And I do this this one thing a day, even if everything else goes south. So it's a simple daily solution. Daily sunshine is for family, peak performance. You guys know all these things, but you can see what I've chose. The reset and cleanse, the fixate portion control, just it alone is 30 PV. So there's lots of ways to look at this to say, how am I going to get to 500? And am I looking at all the different solutions as a way to help people figure out what healthy is for them? Activate's completely usually forgotten. I ask people like, what do you do for a multivitamin? Does anybody do that anymore? So I just wanted you to see this. Boosts can stand alone, by the way. Everybody thinks boosts are an add-on to Shakeology. For me, no, I can boost my juice. If I get somebody who's a big juicer, I'm like, you should try this boost in that. Quick sip, sorry. Okay. Groups you can lead. Challenge groups, we already know what challenge groups are. Free groups, clean week groups, short run groups. You guys have so much creativity around that. But I would hope every 500 PD coach would know what they are and how they can use them in their plan. VIP customer groups. So what I took this actually from other women and other direct sales company that are crushing what they're doing. And what they do is they have a space. So in social media, they might not be all forward with their company that they're with or their products that they're with. They kind of keep their social media space as much more interesting than just pitching products. But what they do is they have a space for every customer or everybody that expresses interest to put them where they have permission to talk about Beachbody's got this pumpkin spice or Beachbody's got a new. So in that VIP customer group, you're constantly adding value. It's a place where people go, not just a challenge group because those come and go or they lose their mojo. And your customer group is vibrant. It's where you're adding value to their lives. And so every new coach on our team learns how to have their social media, but the only other group that they're really having to manage is their customer VIP group. And then the last is what I like to call in terms of groups is creating a business-to-business challenge. So it's a wellness kind of health vet style challenge that's created for small to mid-sized companies. I'm going to measure that at 50 employees or less. But this is another great way to get out and have some fun. So whether you're challenging the 2 local fire departments to compete with Lift 4 for a period of time, or to add Shakeology to their diets, it might not be that great. It's kind of a fun way to just create a health challenge. But it's also a great initiative for a company of 50 or less employees who probably doesn't have access to a lot of health-related programs out there. So that's another kind of group you can get out and do. The special events that you can host. So now let's just talk about events because I think events are critical. If I can move this, hold on. move this up here. Okay. So a launch event, if you haven't had one or you don't teach your team to have one, I'm hoping you do. And relaunches are totally okay. But it's an online or live hosted event featuring the new coach and introducing their business. So I like every coach to have a launch, and I like to help my newbies have their launch. And their launch isn't a big blast of Beachbody all over their space. Their launch is basically them saying, I'm taking a stand for this. And it really matters to me. And I'm excited about it. And, you know, it's kind of a way for them to just declare it. And there's a lot of tricks around having great launches. I know you guys can brainstorm that even, but it's a great way to onboard your team. Friends and family trial. So what I want to talk about there, just as an idea, is friends and family are like usually your toughest people. And you're most skeptical. And sometimes you either have some awesome folks or you don't. But let's just talk about your circle of influence. And I want you to think about your newbie coach, the new one coming on board, their little circle of influence. The way I immunize them from getting either hurt feelings or disappointed or what around friends and family is I teach them to have a conversation with their friends and family. It says, look, this is new to me. I'm in this journey. I don't need you to be a customer. I'm not asking you to join my team necessarily. We can, you know, that's something that I just want you to watch my journey. But in my journey, I need a few people to use some of the products that we have so that I can get your genuine feedback. And, 30 days in, if it's not for you, I'm just going to just thank you for the feedback and it's going to help me be a better coach. But if you love it, you're welcome to be a customer. I'm just asking for your support. And so that whole idea allows you to take your circle of influence, the people closest to you, and say, okay, Shakeology would be good for my mom. A Daily Sunshine for my sister with 3 kids. Peak Performance, let's just do the Energize for my nephew who's 15 drinking Monster drinks. Do you see what I'm saying? So you literally can take the product line, match them up to your friends and family, and just say, would you try this for 30 days? That's going to get them to 500 points in the very first month without doing anything else. But it's also going to kind of give them some experience with the people closest to them. Might not be for everybody, but I've seen it work really, really well. The healthy hostess. So we aren't a party plan company, but I've also watched party plan work really well. In fact, our party is probably the challenge group. It's an impending event that we set up that we invite to. No different than a woman having a party in her house with whatever product she's selling. But I think we've missed the chance to take it a step farther, which is to have an online or a live hosted event where the hostess invites people to find their healthy solution. So the customers that we're working with are people that we know that are in health in that space. We aren't working with them to see how we can serve them in their community or even asking them to do that with us. So I think with 2B Mindset, there's never been a better way than now for us to do this. And I'm having so much fun creating 2B Mindset Live. We call our group the Healthy Mindset Group, but I'm actually calling it 2B Lifestyle. And we're creating a fun website that's just going to show all of our coaches how to trade just through 2B Mindset, how to have this kind of healthy live or healthy hostess event. Like in my house, we do this oodles of zoodles, and the women in my area come and learn how to make, zucchini and carrot noodle recipes. We do cauliflower pizza night. We do couples on the queue where we're barbecuing vegetables on the barbecue. You might not be an at-home person for these events because you could certainly take them online, doing them live. But the idea is think about how to find people in your life where you can reach into their circle of influence and have a great impact. Fundraising events is the last. Carl kind of talked about this a little bit in the last 6 months. They're a little complicated. I'm not going to say they're simple, but I think they're incredibly powerful. And if you have a passion for this, certainly with the schools that are selling cookie dough and wrapping paper, that this might be a fun way with programs like Double Time to talk about healthy living in the family or to run fundraisers, even for fire departments and stuff like that. There's great ways. I happen to have a son that's a fire chief, so that's why I keep referring to that. But here's what I'd love for you guys to do. What are the healthy solutions, and how can we teach a new coach what they are? What are groups that we lead well, and how are we duplicating that in our team? And what special events can we host or teach to host that would help fuel the 500 PV idea? That's the whole thing about this. So that is that's an example. How does a coach thrive? Is they're always every month thinking, how am I getting to 500 or more? And in that, they're thinking 6 to 10 customers, and they're thinking of how they're serving people, and all of the effort that they're doing to reach out into their world is to become that trusted advisor. And so here, like, this is a brainstorming example. Energize is good for energy drink fans. Beach bars, good for busy moms. Clean week, going or returning on a holiday or vacation. So maybe you're planning some clean weeks around the holidays. Fixate portion plan is good for busy couples. To be mindset, I use Slimming World as they're on the struggle bus. They're in the diet thinking they want to get out of there. So stressed out executives, you guys can just decide, wouldn't it be fun as a group to say, who would energize before? Who would revitalize before? So now you're starting to create the solutions that we have in our product line and matching them up to good target people for that product. Okay, what's an Emerald Tribe? The Emerald Tribe is what I would really love all of you to have as you become diamonds. And you don't get to diamond with Emerald Tribes right away, you build them. So Emerald Coach is, like, to me, the most sometimes skipped over achievement ever. It's the time when you finally go, whoo, I've got a couple people. And you're going to hear coaches say, oh, make it your mother and your sister, or make it, just get there. And I have mixed feelings about that. I think if you're going to position anybody close in your family and your team, that sometimes that can be wise, because as now I've got tens of thousands of people in my team. The fact that I put my 2 daughters in my first 2 people, I'm so grateful for, because they have a ready-made business whenever they're ready to engage. And that's the reason I did it, not because I was trying to get to a rank. That's a whole nother strategy in itself. But the key here is to understand that Emerald Coach is the first important milestone. The U+2 model is at the heart of our entire compensation plan. So to me, getting people to Emerald is really how we built our whole entire thing. When we began in the beginning, we didn't get into where to put your spouse and building power legs. We just got to Emerald and built emeralds. That was our whole little mantra: get to Emerald and build emeralds. And the reason is that Emerald Coach engages everything in the comp plan, and Diamond Coach is just an extension of that. So I think we always celebrate diamond as kind of like the key thing, but a solid diamond is rested only on one thing, and that is solid emeralds. So the mindset of an emerald is, it's not what I can do individually. Like, I can do this killer host party, or I can get 100 Success Club points, but I can't show anybody else how. So the mindset of an emerald is, it's not what I can do individually, it's what we can duplicate together. When our team starts duplicating success, especially 500-point coaches built as an Emerald Tribe, we are going to nail this business. And it's going to be with us 10 years, 20 years, 30 years from now. And that's what I want for you. So the Emerald Tribe goal is to build 4 generations. It's to get U+2 and then do the 4-generation build. And this is kind of what it looks like. But the 500, so what it is you as a 500 PV coach with a nice little real customer base, you teach your main job is to teach your personally sponsored Emerald coaches how to get to 500 first. And the second thing is teach them how to teach their people to become Emerald. So when your personally sponsored coaches know how to teach their personally sponsored coaches to get to Emerald, it's golden. That's the main job of every coach. And if you do that, you're going to build something so incredibly strong. So this is what that looks like. And you think, okay, I'm going to look at my personally sponsored, not the ones that are there doing their 90 points, but the ones that really want to build, and ask myself, how have I equipped them to build a nice little customer base consistently of 500? And when they do, how am I encouraging them to create their own little U+2 emeralds? Because when you do that, now you've got 4 levels, you plus your PS, creating emeralds, all 500 PV strong or more. This is what that looks like. So an Emerald Coach has 15 coaches. They're doing 7,500 PV and volume a month. Nice and strong. And the other cool thing is, everybody's got customers. Everybody feels like they're really a coach. Everybody has a very doable focus on what they're doing. They don't feel like it's impossible. And sometimes when we only say, hey, get to Success Club 5, which will get them to 500 or close, but they can't repeat that every month, they're thinking, I can't do this. And that's why the Healthy Formula teaches them, Yes, Success Club's great, challenge packs are great, but let's think about helping people figure out what their healthy formula is. This is the real goal. So a 500 PV Emerald is going to make $447 a month. Not going to be life-changing, but I'll tell you that if every one of your Emeralds just does this and makes that $400 to $500 a month, they're going to feel like they've got a nice little side business. And they're not going to feel overwhelmed by it. And they're going to feel like everybody's got their little customer base. So that's the real strength here. The other thing about every one of these 500 PV coaches is they're profitable in their business. So it isn't like they're going to go, okay, so it costs $14.95 plus my Shakeology. So this is costing me yada, yada, yada. What's really true is they're going to say, I've got enough. I've got my own little customers and I'm making money in this business. Right? And that's an important thing, I think, for every Emerald to have, because they're all asking two questions. Can I do this? And is it worth it? And if they're asking that and saying, okay, so 447 and I get to pay for my product and I have a little bonus, cool. And their belief system is strong and they believe they can show somebody else how to do this, they're more apt to build their team. Building your team is all about belief. Okay, so how does your team grow? One, can they tell the Beachbody story? In just a few minutes, can they just say, here's how Beachbody came to be, coaching came to be? Do they know how to help you to create customer stories? And do they have their own story? It's those three stories that help an Emerald have the conversations that attracts people into their team, that they can share a customer story, that they can share their story, and that they can share the Beachbody story. It's those three stories that I want every coach in our team to learn with confidence. And when I tell this story, especially even their story, that they can tell it in 3 to 5 minutes or less. I mean, usually when people say, what do you do? I'll say, it's funny you ask. After spending my life in a corporate career, I realized I climbed a ladder to a place I didn't want to be. So like at the peak of my life, I quit to take better care of myself. And now I show other women how they can too. That's how I tell my story. It's that fast. And I want you guys to all have that as well. Okay, the classic diamond. We're almost done. This is a classic diamond. Coach comes on board with a challenge pack. And in all fairness, some classic diamonds are going to have more, the little yellow coach, more than 90 points because they have, if chances are if they've built 4 coaches on either side of their business to get to diamond, that it's more than, they have a few customers too. But just for the sake of this, here's what happens. Coaches come on board with a challenge pack and then they stick on their 90 points and don't do much else. You might have a few of these coaches, a couple of them get to Emerald. You probably worked really hard to get to them to Emerald, but everybody's hanging out on their post-challenge pack HD order. And this coach does 1,000 in volume and makes $54 a month. And probably thinks, yeah, diamond isn't what I thought it was. And the other danger of this is any one of those coaches and their team says, yeah, no, not Shakeology this month. I'm going to skip. I'm going on a trip, whatever. They drop. Especially if it's either one of their 2 Emeralds, they'll drop all the way back down to coach. And they'll think, okay, so $14 a cycle versus $18 a cycle. I don't have that much volume anyway. Well, that didn't hurt too bad. So now their idea of sustaining their diamond isn't so important to them anymore. And that's what we want to change. So if that coach just implemented the healthy formula and the 500 PV goal, started recognizing it, started empowering and equipping their team to do that, their volume would now pay them about $485 a month. Keep in mind, not much more than an Emerald Tribe, but at least in this case, as a diamond, they've got coaches with real customers. They've got coaches that are empowered. Chances are they've got some more coaches there that are just at their 90 points, but they've at least focused on getting a core group focused, on building a volume strong. And so that's a good first step. The next step is building diamond strong. And so Christy will know this because all along when I've said, congratulations, you're diamond, let's get you diamond strong, I'm like, it doesn't stop there. So what I really want you to do is I want you to look in your team and we're going to find 4 people on either side. They're going to build an Emerald Tribe. Remember the Emerald Tribe, the U+2, 15 coaches doing about 7,500 in volume. And all that is each one of these coaches has 2 people and they've taught those 2 people how to build emeralds. And in doing that, this happens. This diamond is going to earn $3,600 a month. Now, I'll tell you that for me, the magic number is 12. So I'm always telling my coaches, let's do 6 on either side. Let's not even question about how strong you're going to be as a diamond. So we're going to do 6. We're going to look for 6, and it may take you 6 months. It may take you a year. Doesn't matter to me. This is our focus. And we're going to find and build 6 on either side, and you'll earn $5,400 a month. And I promise you that this diamond never worries about whether they're going to qualify, feels incredibly strong in their income. And because that belief is so high, they don't stop there. They keep growing. So this is Diamond Strong. And this is how something as simple as 500 points, 6 to 10 customers from a healthy formula mindset that filters through your whole team becomes volume strong and income strong for every diamond that does it. First steps, use a healthy formula with your customers and teach it to your team. Second, create 500 PV raving fan customers, teach that to your team. Build an Emerald tribe, get to Emerald and build emeralds, and set a goal for Diamond Strong and be a diamond with as many Emerald tribes as you can build. And just set a goal for yourself. It might just be you become an emerald. You know, you have that 500, that step of diamond where you've got people doing 500 first, and start there. And the next thing is show that it's possible, and now create Emerald tribes, personally sponsored by you. So that's that message. I'm going to stop share now. There you go. And I'm happy to send this deck to you guys. My fondest hope with all of this is that you work together as a collective group. And it really just starts with you saying, how do we equip and empower every new coach that comes onto my team? And I'll tell you that my focus always in my team isn't the top producers. It isn't the elites or the premiers or the Success Club 10s or whatever. Those people all get their recognition, and I applaud them, certainly. All the decisions I make and the effort that I wake up to every day as far as my team is concerned, is for the new coach. How do I get the new coach to survive? Our coach university, our incentives, all of it's designed for the new coach. Because if we can get the new coach to thrive, then it proves to all of us that every conversation we have with somebody new coming on board, that we believe absolutely you can do this and it's worth it. And that fuels growth in every aspect of your business. So there you go. Questions?
Thank you, Milan. Do you guys have questions?
They're like, what?
Yeah, she's gonna show the PowerPoint. Yeah, right.
Yeah, I'll send this to you now. And if it's helpful at all, and if you want, some of the diagrams I showed you, like the little menu and the graphic, sometimes it's good for you guys to use those even within your own team. I'm going to, Christy, maybe what I'll do is, who has Canva over there?
Yeah.
A few of you do. Those of you that do, Christy, you message me their email addresses, and I will send you the graphics that you could change any way you wanted. And, use them if you want, and then I'll send you the PowerPoint.
Okay.
Awesome.
We have a question.
Yes.
So this is kind of general, but why would you say that the company focuses so much then on people and not on like something for getting 500 PV or like making that the focus?
Yeah. Such a good question. So there's been a shift. So I'll tell you that I served on the cab for like the first, 4 years before Shakeology and everything. Kind of wish I didn't then, so I could now, because we were getting started then. So I'll tell you that they're starting to, and it's been a really difficult conversation. They know how strong I believe in this. Jeff Hill's on board with this. So my real answer about that right now is fear. Okay, so the fear is that if they shifted to volume and not just challenge packs and challenge groups and Success Club, that we would stop acquiring the new customer on Home Direct. It's just a corporate fear that we would just stop doing that. And I'm trying to tell them that's silliness, because it still is the best deal, right? When I've got somebody figuring out what their healthy formula is, sometimes that's still a wise deal for them to make, even if they are doing keto or whatever. But I think that that's their fear. And we just have to prove to them that if we had every coach doing 500, do you know how big this company would be? It would just look at your own team and answer that question. It would be huge. Yeah. So honestly, what's happening in the last year or two is I'm proving it to them. And you guys are a part of me proving it to them. And that's why I'm doing these calls like almost daily now, is I want this to permeate through the entire, for a few reasons. I also don't want that diamond coach to go, well, this isn't what I thought it was, right? I want that coach to be strong. And even if a coach got to diamond, is like, oh, this might take me another year to build diamond strong. I'm like, well, then that's okay. Because in a year from now, if you're consistent at $3,000 to $5,000 a month, you'll be in a different place than you are right now. So, but I will tell you that the leadership ladder includes volume now. Elite points now have a volume component. So slowly I'm starting to see them make these little shifts where they're adding volume into leadership ladder and elite and a few other things. But unfortunately still, every time they run some kind of a thing, it seems to be challenge packs and Success Club points. And I'm like, I've asked them, could you just make Success Club 5 either 5 points or 500 PV in sales? And Success Club 10 would be 10 points or 1,000 in sales. They've been hearing that from me for 3 years. I'll be at leadership again in another 2 weeks. They're going to hear it from me again, or I guess. But
maybe they'll change it this year.
I think what's going to happen is I think that we're just going to prove to them that this, I'm not going to get to 500 every month. We still have, they would just want to encourage us to have the conversations. Like for me as a woman that's 59, my women aren't necessarily going to be on HD forever, or they're going to just want the Ultimate Reset products. Like I wish those were in a 30-day supply, because I'm getting them off of their probiotic, or, so I think they're also looking very closely at BOD as a one-time and mindset as a one-time sell. So the nutritional products that support that are critical. And it goes way beyond just Shakeology. So, yeah, I'm working on it. But you guys proving it is so helpful. I can't tell you. They can't deny. But you as a diamond going to a 500 PV strong model. I've had coaches who have been doing this for the last year, and they're like, my income's up, 60% just by doing that. So, good question, though.
Yeah, great question, Milan. Anyone else have a question? We good? Okay. Thank you so much, Milan. I can't thank you enough. We're going to digest and go around, do some masterminding on everything we just learned. So I appreciate your time.
Yay, yay. All right, you guys, so glad you're together. Enjoy your time. I hope you have some free time too. It looks like you're in a beautiful place. So love you guys. Wish you the best success.
Love you, Milan. Thank you.
Bye.